All right, what's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Today, we got something special. We got a collab mock draft with Ryan Hammer over here, and we are going to be doing it in person, something I've never really done before, and I think it's going to be interesting to go back and forth and just kind of figure out what we think the 2025 draft is going to look like. Thanks for having this with me.
100%.
Yeah.
And welcome across the river to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Let's get after it.
No, yeah, I'm excited. And obviously, if you guys want to check out Ryan's stuff, link to all that will be in the description. So, number one, I'll give you the. I guess it's really what do you want at 3?
You want to just?
We're gonna go back and forth.
It's up to you. You want to start or no?
I'll give you the number 1 pick.
I think the Mavs are going to take Cooper Flag.
I think so too. I think they're gonna end up taking. Just honestly, It's crazy the 180 that their franchise looks now.
Crazy
after you trade away Luka and all the drama that came with it, and now you just have somebody that could be like a stretch 4 for you, a backup point guard, like just can do it all right away as a rookie, as a 19. He's gonna be 18, right, on draft or on opening night.
Yeah, 18 and a half, something like that. It is wild to think about. Like a year ago, you're thinking about how they're in the finals, right? And you're thinking, how can this team build around Luka? What are the finishing pieces to put it all together?
Exactly.
And now, like you said, it's complete. Like the trade is just like still not even a reality in my brain. It's actually unbelievable. I don't hate the Mavs team, and the fit actually is crazy because like. Although if Kyrie is playing for them, who knows? But Kyrie, AD, Cooper, like they have a couple of role pieces. Like they could build a pretty decent team right away.
Like if Kyrie's back and looks like 90% of himself, and AD, I mean, if he could stay healthy, you have like a legitimate top 5 team in the West next year.
And those two, they're gonna run lineups of Cooper at the 4, AD at the 5. It's good luck scoring on them. Oh my God!
Like he looked so good with Kaman in college. Imagine going from Kaman I watched to Anthony Davis.
It's ridiculous.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
That's a pleasure for him.
So that will leave me at number 2. Barring any trade, Spurs keep this pick. They're going to take Dylan Harper. I think it will get interesting to feel like Dylan Harper's vibe for this team. Is he okay coming off the bench throughout the course of his rookie season? How is his offensive numbers going to look? And is he going to be like, you know what, I wish I had more of a role? And how is Stephon Castle's numbers going to look? I want to be totally surprised if Castle's numbers weren't like that much better next year, just like the surface stats. But you obviously trust the defense already. And then, I mean, I think the big thing with Dylan Harper is like he has top 7 point guard potential one day in the league, but then it's just like, can he be a consistent enough shooter? Does he look like someone that can have a step back jumper, create his own shot that way on the perimeter?
Yeah, I could see him being a full-time one guard for a team. I think his ceiling is like a Cade Cunningham type of player. It makes a lot of people think it's lazy, but I think people that say that are just overthinking things.
Yeah,
because it's very, very simple. He's just left-handed, obviously southpaw, but it's a good point. And I think him being in the second line, in the second unit, off the right when he jumps into the league as a rookie, or even if he is going to start for a while, I think that's going to benefit him a lot. He's not going to be like, it's the opposite of what he had at Rutgers.
Right.
So.
I mean, oh man, it's just crazy how much depth they're going to have on the backcourt.
Yeah.
So that's going to leave you at 3, where this draft can get interesting.
It's tough. I could see them going Ace, Trey, VJ, or Khan, or trading the pick, but we're doing no trades, obviously.
Yeah, so what do you think they would do?
Yeah. I think they're going to go Ace Bailey. I am not sold there. They're Daryl Morey. They're going to dance around a bunch of options, I think, but I think they're going to end up going Ace Bailey. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I have mixed feelings. Like I have mixed feelings about Ace as a prospect, but if he goes 3, I don't think you can complain.
No.
Maybe in hindsight, people will late years on the line if he doesn't pan out well, but I think him playing next to established guys will help him refine his role also.
Yeah, and I think you could look at it at the way, too, that with their own picks, they are hoping they're never picking this high for at least a while.
Right.
They're picking in the 20s or the late teens, and you maybe take the highest swing there, and that's what I think they can end up doing as well. Yeah. I think right now it's probably like 50% Ace Bailey goes 3, and then like 50% the other 3 you mentioned go 3. It's just like who's going to emerge as the guy that's going to rival
maybe
Ace.
Maybe like a 5% they find a trade because it's a high pick. It's a really high pick to find a trade.
And there's plenty of teams that could want an Ace Bailey upside, and you can get one of those guys we mentioned at 7-8.
Do you think there's a slight chance they trade down in like a Cam Johnson deal like we talked about?
Yeah, I like that for Philly. I do. He's under a nice contract, at least for 2 years, and I don't think he would break the bank on an extension next year either. And by the time that extension kicks in, you'll be off the Paul George money. I think it's going to be fascinating what the Grimes contract looks like this offseason.
Yeah.
Because you're paying Embiid, you're paying Maxey, you're paying Paul George. If the Nets throw like $20+ million at Quentin Grimes and you have to match that, they're going to be a second apron team before we know it.
They need to keep Quentin Grimes if it's
no, you have to. You have to. Yeah. So I think that may also could implicate a trade for Cam Johnson.
That's a good point.
Right? Because he's making $20 million.
And the Nets are at 8. I know they have like 19 and 20 also, right?
Yeah,
they have 19, 8 and 19. Like maybe it's 3 and something for Cam and 8 or something like that. Who knows?
No, I like the idea of it. So at number 4, I'm going to take VJ Edgecombe. I do think maybe Trey Johnson has a higher ceiling than Edgecombe in the league. I do think Edgecombe has a higher ceiling than Knipple. I could see the vision for both those guys, but I just think the Hornets need also defense, and I think he's a better defender than Khan and Trey, maybe by a decent margin as well. And I just think like the athleticism, he's not nowhere near the athlete as like a Men Thompson, but it's kind of like one of the more athletic guys in this class that can run the floor, can catch alley-oops, could be a slasher cutter for Vamelo and Brandon Miller, who are going to demand so much of the rock.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. Hard to argue that at all. 5 is interesting. The Jazz, I don't think have shown. First of all, they shouldn't be drafting for fit right now. Their fit could be anything realistically.
Yeah.
They haven't shown that inclination to do that either. And I think they're smart and they're a patient front office. They have to be. So I think this is where if Trey is on the board, they're going to be like, we'll just take him. He's the best player left.
Yeah.
He had such a good combine also on top of his season being unbelievable at Texas, like high usage, unbelievable shooter and scorer. I know we both love him a lot. Legitimately one of the best scoring prospects I have ever seen or evaluated in the 6-7 years, 5 years, whatever we've been doing this. I think they would go to the podium pretty swiftly for Trey Johnson.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny. I react to like my way too early mock every year too. And I remember briefly debating where I wanted to put Trey Johnson versus Jaleel Bethea a year ago.
Wow, that's crazy.
Right? And it's just like they completely take different paths. And now, I mean, Bethea, he went to Alabama.
He could go crazy,
nuts,
right?
but
that's another conversation. But they got so many dudes, guards there, LeBaron, Aiden, him. Like, it'll be fun. But
yeah, it gets the touches because it's wild. And now Trey Johnson, like, kind of solidified himself as I would say 6 is like the floor. Like, I can't see him falling past Washington.
Yeah, that's fair. If he's on the, that's a good point.
So 6 at Washington. What I think they're going to do, it's either Derek Queen, keep him in the area, or I think they would go Jeremiah Fears. I think they also are looking for that long-term answer at the 1. I think Fears does have like true point guard 1 material, and I think him and Sarr can operate well to the pick and roll. I think Fears did that very nicely at Oklahoma last year. So I think for now I'm going to have Jeremiah Fears go at number 6. I do see the appeal in Derek Queen. I don't think they're going to be a Cass or a Kasparis team, or I don't think they're going to be a Knipple team. So I'm going to have Jeremiah Fears go number 6 to Washington, and then you hope he has, like, that can – because I think Bub is more of an off-ball, like, 2 than a
I was about to say he's a kind of a combo and, like, score him first. I feel like Bub is going to be a future, like, at his peak for a good team, like a really good 6-man. I think that's the hope for him. Yeah. Fears is more upside than a lot of those guys you mentioned, so it makes sense for a team like Washington. 7, the Pelicans. I love Derek Queen, but that makes no sense here. It's tough. Like, I don't hate KJ, honestly. Like, I don't have him super, super high on my board, but – again, we're mocking what we think is going to happen. I think they go guard play in general. I think they go Khan here because they're not a bad team. They're a weird team kind of in limbo right now. Khan has such a high floor. He impacts the game in so many ways. He can be a 1 guard. He can be a 2. He can help with spacing and shooting so much that they need. So I'll go Khan at 7 for the Pelicans.
No, I like that a ton. That's who I would take him. The floor is very high there.
So high.
Man, I just like Con Knipple and Trey Murphy just like taking 15 shots a night. I mean, Con's never going to get that much, but it'd be exciting, right? I guess it depends what like they do with Zion this offseason. I mean, like, do you think, I guess going back to the Derek Queen talk, he's going to be better suited as like a 4 or a 5 at the NBA?
I think it's tough. I think it depends on what team he's on.
Yeah.
I think he's best suited as a 4. And like we talked about Alex Sarr.
Yeah.
If the Wizards took him, I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Or like the Spurs, I don't know if he's there at 14 for whatever reason.
Yeah, you
like,
take that.
Sure, but then he's not going to be there at 14 or they trade up, whatever it is. I think next to Wemby and guys that can space and stretch the floor, Chet, like those type of 5s, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially because he's not like massive. He's strong. He's got long arms, but he's only like 6'10". And I go back and forth. I think he could do a little bit of both, but depending on how his shot develops.
Yeah,
also.
right.
What
That's
do you
a
think?
big thing.
Yeah.
I think if the shot develops a ton, because I don't love like the rim protection, at least right away. I think that's something you can teach, and it can help him out over time. But I just remember it was the Florida game. What round was that? Was that the Sweet 16? The defense was rough in that game, but hey, you're going up against like arguably the best team, the best team.
Condon, Chinyulu, Hauk, that's tough.
No, it was really good. And then I'm just like watching. I'm like, it's gonna get way more difficult than this at the NBA level.
It's fair.
Yeah, because and then I'm like going through it, but I'm like, I think he needs to play the 4 at first defensively. Maybe he's just gonna play
adjust.
And then But if you have somebody of his ball handling ability at the 5,
Oh my god.
like you can really get experimental with that offense.
And that's how like teams like you talk about the Rockets and Pacers when they had Sabonis, but
Yeah.
Kings when they had with Sabonis also, and Şengün with the Rockets.
being
Like
that hub.
those teams' offenses can boom with those guys on the floor. And it doesn't have to be for all 30 minutes that they play at their peak. Like it can be for 10 minutes, 15 minutes a game.
Totally.
They play the 5 to get offensive spurts and get that going.
Right?
So,
And like you run the pick and roll with him, any switch could be like favorable for him if he's
so
really not
good.
going to turn the ball over and he can get downhill.
he's great in the short roll too. He's just
Right.
He's just like he has a really innate ability on the ball and that you can't teach.
So at 8, Brooklyn, I could think about Queen that they would do, but I feel like Kaman has just a little bit more defensive upside, and I do expect them to move Nick Claxton at least over the next 2 years, if not this offseason. But I'm sure if there's a KD trade, Claxton could be sent to Phoenix in a way with KD to a third team, and he can be a Laker. So I think you're looking for your long-term rim protector, and I think there's a lot of point guards you could look later in this draft that, unless you absolutely love Kasparis, but I think if Fears is off the board, they would go Kaman at number 8.
Yeah, that's fair. And I'll just move it along 9. We'll take Derek Queen
Derek
here.
Queen.
I think the Raptors going after Malawak and Queen, if one of them is there, I think they're going to be super happy.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. We talked enough about him, so.
Okay, cool. So we have so to wrap up the top 10, the Rockets, they can kind of go anything here, right? Like they can take Asparis, they could take Colin Murray, Boyles, Amen Thompson, and Easton out there at the same time defensively. This is like Thunder 2.0 next year.
The shooting would be
Unreal. I think they do need some shooting. I don't know. Like Colin Murray Boyles has a big what if with his shot. He would go a lot higher if he could trust the shot. You've mentioned plenty of times Nick Clifford, but I think for them, I think I'm gonna actually go Carter Bryant.
I don't hate that.
I think he's somebody that doesn't need to be thrown out there right away, but I think he can hold his own defensively. And if they're going to cycle through some of these guys, I think he could be a nice, especially the Jabari Smith situation.
Yeah.
If he's not on this team in a couple years, Bryant can kind of fill that void.
Are you high on Carter Bryant in general, you would say?
I'm very high.
I want to be. Like, he has so many physical tools, cutting, slashing, athleticism. He can shoot a little bit. It's just like they haven't really been on high volumes.
No,
but
not
I
at all.
also liked a guy like Keyshawn George last year who did it on really low volume. So maybe I am missing out a little bit. I like Carter Bryant as like a late lottery. So I don't think this is crazy at all. I'm just like, give me a 1-sentence thing. Try to convince me. I need to get there.
No, I know. So watching Bryant, and I feel like the form looks very good. It looks fluid. It looks natural. And I think he's a very good spot-up shooter right now. So going to a team like Houston, he's never going to be asked to orchestrate or be an initiator or anything like that with the ball in his hand. So he's going to get great open looks with playing next to Şengün, who we mentioned, can be in hub. And then I'm thinking about like Nick Clifford, who's what, 22, 23 years old.
23, yeah.
How is Carter Bryant going to look when he's 22, 23, right? And like, is he somebody you can develop and get under that rookie deal and could be even better? So I think Houston also has the risk here, or they could take the chance, right?
Fair.
Like it's not like going to set their franchise back if they whiff on this pick. And I think the reward drafting Bryant outweighs the risk.
And whoever, they want him to be like a Tamani Kamara for them, which is like very similar to what he kind of does.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I'm still mixed feelings, but I see the vision.
Yeah, no, it's tough because I think the big thing, especially in like the draft like community, like trying to project these guys is like impossible. How are they going to look in 3 years? Are they going to have an injury that sets them back? Are they going to have a terrible development staff? And
yeah, no, it's a good point.
It's just kind of out of our control. We're just kind of hoping for the best for these guys.
Yeah, we're just basement nerds basically. So it's exactly. All right, Blazers at 11. This is interesting. I mean, I actually like the Blazers rebuild. I like their build a lot.
Oh yeah, me too.
People don't really talk about them at all. I like their young core. They have a ton of guards, so I don't think they need to go there. They have a couple of Swiss Army knife wings and some size. Like they have more depth than people think about of young talent. I think versatility is good. I like Yegor Demon a lot. I like Asenge a lot here. I think I'll go with Yegor Demon here. I think they have a guy like Denny Avdia, and Yegor Demon I think is very similar archetype. But I think those archetypes are valuable, and I think Yegor is better offensively and Denny's better defensively.
Yeah.
So or upside at least for Yegor.
Yeah, I think for him, like if he can become just a league average shooter, he could be a top 10 player in this class. It's just is that shot going to develop over time?
He's legitimately so big,
right?
And he's so good on the ball passing vision, and he did that much better against better opponents later in the year. I was kind of worried at the beginning of Big 12 play, but he turned it up a little bit. He looked great in the tournament, scoring the ball. He's comfortable. I like that he played with Kevin Young, NBA coach, all year. They call it Provo, Utah now. I like Yegor Demon a lot. I just like it really depends on a lot of different upside things. So.
Yeah, because he came from, I think, Real Madrid, and he from Russia. Like, this is a completely different shift going to BYU.
If he stays at Real Madrid and he has a really strong year, he probably goes top 5.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
This is, because, like, even Hugo Gonzalez, who averaged like 3 points per game at Real Madrid last year, is still getting first round buzz.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, totally. So at number 12, we have Chicago, another team that doesn't really need guards, and with both the centers off the board, I mean, I like not gonna do it here, but they'd be an interesting trade back team if they really like Sorber. in this class. Because I don't mind. Because
It's tough. This is a tough spot.
I know, because there's a lot of guys that I think I do like Asa in a way, and I do think he could play out there with Matas. I mean, you have Colin Murray-Boyle still on the board. Not really a high upside swing here, which Chicago maybe needs to take. Like Rasheer Fleming, Nick Clifford. I want to see these guys go to like win now teams.
Yeah, exactly. So who do you think they're going to take though?
Yeah. I mean, like, so they went Bruzelis.
I feel like they think that they can.
It's unreal.
They think that they can make a put. Like you mentioned, Neek. I'm not telling you what to be the pick, obviously.
No,
but
I know. They
think that they can make a push in the playoffs. Like, in what world? First of all,
I agree.
Yeah.
You know what I'm actually gonna do? I'm gonna take Asa Newell. I think it's a little. I think this is probably the ceiling for Ace in terms of where he can get drafted. I just think you're looking at this center. I assume Vucevic is off this team. You have Jalen Smith for 2 more years, and then it's just kind of like Zach Collins' expiring contract.
Right.
I think you can really try to develop a big that can benefit so much of playing with Josh Giddey, who's a great passer, good initiator, and Newell will get his touches. So I think it comes down to like Newell, Sorber, or I guess if you're looking at that type of big man, Behringer at that point, because I just don't think Danny Wolf fits this team.
Yeah. A lot of the guys you mentioned there make sense at 13 for the Hawks also.
The way that this fell between Murray Boyles, I don't know if you're going to go with one of those guys, but there are so many fun guys here for Atlanta.
These are my Hawks, baby. These are my Hawks. Like all the guys you just mentioned, we just talked about. Colin Murray Boyles, even Neek, Rasheer Fleming, I think it's thrown in here a lot. He makes a lot of sense for the Hawks. I like Sorber a lot here. I don't think they're going to take him here. I think they're going to try to get out 22 with the Lakers pick.
Yeah.
I think Asenge,
I know there's plenty of wings here.
I think that I don't think they would take Colin Boyles. I think he's going to fall further than people think. I'll go Nick Clifford.
Okay.
It might be me being high on that. I think that he makes a lot of sense for them, and I think that teams love him. They're starting to they've been realizing that more and more throughout the latter of the year. So I think Nick is a realistic pick here. Just as much as anybody else that we mentioned.
No, I totally agree. And I think I kind of like I know Landry Fields isn't there anymore, but the way that they build out this team around Trey, just guys that can defend, shoot,
I love the
floor.
team.
No, it's
like
I'm kind of high on
the team is not that good, but it's also very like there's so much size. I love Dyson Daniels. When they made that trade, I was going crazy. Like they had, like you said, we talked about the Magic and like how they have all this size. They need the guard. I think the Hawks resemble that well. So like. People talk and we talk about the Magic trading for a guy like Trey. They're building so well around him.
Yeah.
Adding more size, athleticism, versatility, and defense. I don't think they're going to be a championship team, obviously, but I think they could win a playoff series.
Totally. Damn. So Kasparis still on the board here at 14, but we went Dylan Harper at 14. So I won't be taking Kasparis. I think this team needs shooting, and I'm higher on him than a lot of people. I'm not going to take him here because one, I don't think they need another guy. I love Jason Richardson. I think he should. I think he's a top. Forget where I think he's like around 11 on my big board. Like he's pretty high. Yeah, no, I like him. I think he's very safe.
Okay.
But what'll hold them back, the size, the defense, stuff you worry about. But for San Antonio here, I think they need shooting. If you would have told somebody back in like February they were able to get like William McNeely at 14, they would be like, no way, really? But then he obviously didn't shoot the ball well later in the year. So you know what I'm actually gonna do? I'm gonna just go a high upside swing. A little bit like he's a junior. I'm gonna go Rasheer Fleming because he shot 40+% from 30 at St. Joe's. I think there's a chance he needs to put on a little bit of weight, but could be like a physical small ball 5 that could space the floor and you can kind of run some actions through him. And especially if Wemby and him out there at the same time, it could be fun 2-man game offensively. And I think good shooter, but they also need size.
Yeah, no, I like that pick a lot. I like Rasheer. I've been to St. Joe's a number of times. I've talked to him, been with him in person. He's a monster.
How tall is he in person? Like,
I mean, I'm 5'11". He's got
massive.
It feels like he's got a foot.
He's got
on
like
me.
a 9'4" standing reach.
And
it's
I was
crazy.
about to say his arms when he put them out. Exactly. I've been at their practices and stuff like that. Throughout the year that I've watched him, he's gotten. Beginning of the season, back in like November, December, I would go to St. Joe's, watch their games, and I'm sitting on the court and he's not aggressive enough. He's not crashing the glass. He's not attacking the rim.
Yeah.
Later in the year, I think he started rebounding the ball a lot more aggressively, and he started doing that a lot more, which I love seeing. If they can get a guy if they can develop an OG like player, that's what the Spurs need, I think, to make a jump.
Yeah.
They don't need a Dylan Harper, but they're going to have a Dylan Harper. But they could have a guy like OG also. I think that makes a ton of sense.
No, it's exciting.
I can't believe OKC is another pick. It's just it's always
15.
OKC.
Yeah, right.
And what do they need? Nothing. And everything.
So I think it's interesting. Yeah, right. Like, do you end up just taking somebody that doesn't need to play next year, or do you want to take somebody that can help you right now?
They took Topic last year.
Yeah.
Could they take a KJ also and just throw if he's on the board and be like, hey, he's the best player available? We'll just figure it out.
Right.
We'll figure it out. I don't think they would take I think at some point they have to be like, I don't know. We can't be doing this every single time.
Right.
I think there could be a case for them to get some more size also, especially with they're not like super deep there.
Yeah.
Colin Murray Boyles being there. We'll go Colin Murray Boyles. We'll just get him off the board.
Dude.
Because I think OKC is the type of team that would be like, we don't need to play him all the time. And whatever he's really good at, like the defensive and the passing and stuff like that, we will get everything out of it for 10 minutes a game.
Yeah. Oh, my God, man. Like, one of the best defenses of all time, adding Colin Murray Boyles is incredible. And, I mean, like, you look at this team in a year from now where they're probably not be able to afford Hartenstein, and maybe Jay Will and Kenrich Williams are on different teams. He's just kind of filling in the void there for them. And, oh, my God, him and Wu Dort and Jada.
Oh, man.
That defense is insane.
There's no bad pick for them. They could pick. They could pick. I'm not gonna. Never mind. I'm not gonna slam. They could pick Hanson Yang here, and it wouldn't be a problem.
No, not at all. That'd be kind of fun. I also love the idea. I don't know if he's gonna make it later on, but Danny Wolf in that system offensively. So
the OKC's got to pick at 24 also.
Yeah, he might make it there. We'll see. So 16, I think it's this board fell very nicely for the Orlando Magic. I think we know they need a point guard. They need one that can shoot. And I like Traore, Jace Richardson, or Kasparis here. And I think, honestly, the upside outweighs the fall, like Kasparis, for sure. I think there's a high chance he goes in the lottery. Maybe New Orleans falls in love with him. Maybe Brooklyn falls in love with him.
This is a great fit.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. Because I think at worst, he's going to shoot around like 34% from three. Not going to be a liability, but he can initiate, he can pass.
I don't think this is unrealistic either for him to fall a little bit.
No,
the guys always fall. It happens every single year.
I forget what he weighed without shoes, but he's a bigger point guard than most. And you're adding him to like an already massive team size-wise. That's kind of like what they love.
That'd be a problem to play against.
That'd be kind of fun. So, yeah, Minnesota.
T-Wolves at 17. Someone I think it actually fits for the Magic. There's a lot of guys here. Like Will Riley comes into the play here, I think. You mentioned McNeely. I think guys like that make sense too. I don't know exactly what I think they need the most. I think they could use an extra spark. And I think I know they're trying to win now, as they should be, 100%. I'm going to go Walter Clayton here.
Okay.
I'm very high on him because he's got a high floor. You know he's going to be good. You know he's going to be a good NBA player because he's a good basketball player. He's won at the highest level. He's won at every level he's played at. He's a fearless shot maker, fearless shot taker. He can play the one, I think, as in the second unit. Mm-hmm. I compare him to Peyton Pritchard all the time. And I think if you add a Peyton Pritchard to the T-Wolves, that's amazing for them.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's amazing. So I'll go Walter Clayton.
No, I like it. Because, like, I think it's what's cool about doing these mock drafts. I don't think I've ever drafted Clayton in the top 20. Like, I farted with the Orlando Magic, right, like, off the national championship. But then I'm like, would they view him as a good initiator, passer, and, like, somebody that can kind of fit in their half-court system? But, honestly, like, if this dude shoots 38% from three, who cares?
Right.
Like, he's just going to be somebody that can honestly help this team out.
Exactly. And he doesn't have to play big minutes. And this is why we're doing this together, because
totally.
I will take the older college guys early.
I like it. I like it. And now with the NIL, like, we're going to see that more often. Yeah. So 18 Washington. So we went Fears at 6. So, I mean, this is a team that can kind of just go whatever. I think I'm going to go high upside. I'm going to take Essengay, who's got, I feel like, a wide range. There was a mock I saw that I think might have been Bleacher Report, but they had him at like Toronto was at 9. They Brooklyn, I think, 8 in one of them. So, like, people could see him going in the top 10. People could see him going in the mid-range. I think he finished very strong at Rousseau Farm and developed the shot over the last couple of games where he struggled to start off the year. So, hey, you get somebody that's 6'7", 6'8", that could play good defense, that's as young as he is right now, that develops a shot. Like, it's everything you want in a modern-day wing. So
I like his game a lot. I wouldn't hate if my Hawks took him at 13.
Yeah, I like it. And the new GM, or I think decision maker in DC, is Will Dawkins, and he spent a lot of time in like OKC, and I think he was on board for some good picks. And some bad picks like Poku, but I feels like this is the type of guy they would want.
All those types of guys. Yeah. The Nets took Malawak at 8, although it doesn't really matter. They could take 9 centers. It wouldn't really matter. They take best player. This is interesting because, like you mentioned, Jace. We talked about even like Cedric Coward and guys like that. I don't think that makes sense for them here. I know Penda, people like him. I'm not a huge fan of his. Thomas Sorber, but I don't think they would take Malawak and Sorber.
Right?
I just weird. Like, in what world does that actually make plausible sense? Mm-hmm. You know what? They'll take Nolan Traore right here because I think they can afford to be a little patient with a guy like that, where he's been very hot and cold this year. He had potential to go top 5 at the beginning of the year, and I loved him. He didn't shoot the ball super well, and that's been a big concern. But I think we talk about how much we like the Nets development staff right now. I think that makes a lot of sense for them there, and I think it makes a good fit.
I love that. And he's like somebody that can play extremely well with pace, and it's tough to like kind of watch those international guys where they get like 4 shots a night, 3 shots a night at times. But then there's really sometimes where, it's tough for them to like kind of build into that rhythm. So at number
Miami at 20.
Miami at 20. So. I mean, this was going to be Traore for me. I wasn't sure. I mean, Ben Serif is on the board here if they really want to chew one. I think Robinson, like Rozier, these guys can kind of come and go off this team. So you know what? I'm gonna go. I think they need to take a swing. As much as I would like such a coward here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Oh man, Jace is here.
Yeah,
So I actually
guy.
I was about to take Will Riley, but then I'm looking at Jace, and I'm a big Jace Richardson fan. But I just don't believe you can really have him and Hero out there at the same time,
They can't.
like ever.
This is good because I don't hate Jace at all. I like him.
Yeah.
I just know
I just
his
don't like him in
limitations.
Miami.
Yeah. That's
all right.
definitely
I'm
true.
going to take Will Riley. I don't think
I like that.
Hawk has. There's a chance he's not here in a couple of years. Do they extend Jovic? Robinson's going to come and go. Highsmith could come and go. They need wings, and I think they got to take a swing on a guy in Will Riley, who, hey, if he hits a ceiling, he's somebody that can handle the ball. That I think,
Yeah.
like towards the end of the year for Illinois, was like kind of running the offense a little bit, or
Yeah, he did.
starting it. So I don't know if that's a good thing for him, bad thing for Kasparis, but either way, we're gonna have Will Riley go there 20.
He doesn't get enough credit as a ball handler. There are a lot of really good flashes, and he's like a legit 6'8", 6'9". He's
Yeah.
a big boy, and he can get on a heater.
Yeah.
So
I went through like ebbs and flows with how high I wanted him in this, like in my big board, and the one guy I was so high on this year, just he didn't get him like kind of like a Carter Bryant usage, but Isaiah Evans at Duke.
Oh,
I had
I
him
would
in
have
Will, dude,
first rounder.
Oh
He's
yeah,
gone.
100%.
Next year, I think he go lottery.
I think so too.
100%.
I hope they have him in like kind of like a con role next year, where
God.
he's him
Praying.
more.
He's a demon too.
He
Like
is.
he's built for big moments.
I think
love Isaiah Evans.
Yeah, he could be the best shooter next year's class.
That'll be fun. 21, interesting. The Jazz. They took Trey Johnson early on. They probably won't go another guard, I don't think. The Jazz are such a weird team. Like I think McNeely makes sense here.
Mhm.
Coward is not. It's not early for anybody realistically at this
No, at
point
this
because so
point.
many guys are back to college that like anybody could go. You could take older dudes, whatever. Sorber being on the board is very interesting.
Yeah.
I'll get a little crazy here. The Jazz are a weird team.
They are a weird
I'm going to
team.
give them Danny Wolf
Ah.
because Danny Wolf is a weird player, but the Jazz are a team, and OKC, those are teams that I think would want to make it work for him.
Yeah.
And I think the offensive style, I like that Danny Wolf there, which is I
Space the
haven't mocked
floor.
this yet, but I like it.
Yeah, no, moves off well and could be out there with Walker Kessler.
100%.
I mean, like if you would have told somebody like watching Marketing at Zona that he would play small forward one day, you'd be like, what? What if we see like Danny Wolf playing small forward this year?
No shot. No freaking way. He's not mobile enough yet.
I know.
Defensively, he would get exposed really hard.
Oh, I
but
know.
But they can
But-
run a Markkanen.
Wolf Kessler.
That's oh my God, that's
It'd
3
be-
7-footers.
I know it would be kind of nuts.
And then just let Keanu George and Trey Johnson or Isaiah Collier just go
Right.
off. Yeah.
So I mean, this fell perfectly for your Atlanta Hawks. So 2022, I'm gonna take Thomas Sorber.
Didn't do it on purpose.
Nah. I think Capella's probably not gonna be back. You know what I kind of like for you guys? I don't know if you feel the same way, but Mohamed Gay.
I do like him. Yeah.
Like
Good
insane
defender. He's
athlete.
big. Yeah.
And I feel like he's like gonna take some time. Like was going to.
Yep.
For where he came out of, and I don't know. I kind of like if you had Thomas Sorber, who we'll see about the foot injury, how much that's
Yeah.
gonna linger. But you have him, Okongwu, who spaced the floor late in the year, Mohamed Gay. I mean, like these are athletes that can like be around Trae Young, and I think that's the
We're
way you have to
preaching.
build around him.
This is not a Hawks episode, but it has
I
become
know.
a Hawks video.
One,
Yeah,
one thing
exactly.
I do think, also just kind of mentioning for them, like, what's your opinion on Buffkin? Is it
I didn't
tough?
like him when they drafted
You
him.
didn't? Yeah, I didn't. Because you had Murray and you had Trae, and it's just like, where is his fit?
Yeah, I just don't
ever?
love him as like an NBA player. I think there's value for him to be a rotational guy max at some point, but I've never been high on him, and I hope I am wrong. But
Yeah.
all right, Pacers at 23, team that obviously wants to win now, NBA Finals team. It's tough. I think they could use some size. I don't think they're not super deep there. I think the older guys started to come into play here because they're a team that obviously again wants to win now. Like Ryan Kalkbrenner, I wouldn't hate that at all here. I think he's very underrated as a prospect. I think Maxime Reynaud is even more underrated as a prospect.
Yeah.
I have him top 15.
Yeah.
I think he's that good. I think he's very much like the prototypical offensive, versatile offensive center that you look for in the NBA, similar to guys like Brook Lopez, even like what I don't even know, like Bam Adebayo has done and stuff like that. I don't think he's as good of a defender as those guys obviously yet, but he's a decent shot blocker. He was really good at Stanford. He's also a late blooming guy, so he's 22. But I think basketball age, you compare him to more to like 19, 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
So I like Reynaud a lot. I think he makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I don't remember watching too much Stanford 2 years ago, but I just wish we got like more Stojakovic right now this year. It would have been fun. It would have been fun.
Can I tell you something? You kind of look like Reynaud a little bit.
Really?
I'm gonna pull a picture of him. This is the
I guess
weirdest.
I'll throw a picture on the screen too.
Yeah, you're
That I
gonna
kind
have
of
to.
look like Maxime. Wish I was as tall as Maxime.
I mean, look.
Yeah, I could see it. It's
guys
probably like
kinda
the
look
hair
alike.
a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's there. It's
That's
not.
funny.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah. I got a lot of like I'll get in my comments. I used to get a lot of Brad Stevens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now it's like 7'1". So.
Yeah, so he's about a foot and a half.
But
taller
the
than me.
face.
Yeah. Do you get like a look-alike?
Joe Ingles I used to get.
Wow, that's
Joe
pretty
Ingles,
good.
Joe
That's
Ingles
pretty
a lot.
good.
I used to
like
get
that.
Macklemore all the time also. Not an NBA player.
Yeah,
but
no,
Macklemore.
that's pretty good.
And Tony Hawk. That's the only other one. I don't look like him at all.
I feel like you kind of do. I'm like trying to remember Tony Hawk, but I think you kind of do. So 24. I mean, he's still on the board. I don't care. I'm gonna take Jace Richardson here. The Thunder, low key, like kind of need shooting in a way. I think they went through their ups and downs and inconsistencies with shooting. Obviously they have incredible defenders, but hey, maybe at one point Isaiah Joe won't be on this team, and like Jace could be somebody in that role, and you're just getting another shot creator off the bench, which hey, every team can use. So
And that's how they've been drafting also, where they say like with the Topic pick last year, where they're like, we might not need him right now, but in a year or two we might need him.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it works there. Magic at 25. They got a guard. I still think they could use some kind of shooting, and upside is still not bad. Size, length. I'm going to go Liam McNeely here. I think there's still a lot of stock to be bought in his. I still like him not more than most people, but I still think he could be an elite shooter in the NBA.
Yeah.
It was one season of not even the whole season. He had like half the season of not being as elite as you wanted
and he got
him to
injured, I think, back in like January
He
or
did,
something.
yep.
So you never know.
I think it makes a lot of sense. So
If you would have told like a Magic like person at 16 and 25, you're getting Kasparis and McNeely like a couple months ago. You're
Oh
like,
my God.
Were we picking 2 picks in the top 10?
Yeah.
Like, it's that bad.
Exactly.
So 26 Brooklyn. We went very high upside, which I like. I want them to do that in this draft. I want them to take swings
Right.
on Kaman and Nolan. And I think honestly, let's just get like a nice plug and play. Like maybe at one day he's just a role player. I'm gonna go Cedric Howard. I think they need type of guys like this. I think we saw like Zaire Williams and Keon Johnson like in a way like excel in that role. And I think Howard could be kind of as good as those guys right away. They're similar in age. At least I know Zaire was I think a one and done at Stanford. So you're taking Howard to kind of just be like a 3-and-D off ball guy and could also grow because like he kind of got a year wash of development last year because he only played 6 games. So now you're hoping that like this is going to be like just another year of development. Jordy Fernandez, good spot. So, hey, we're adding another net here at 27.
The Nets are so much fun in this draft. Oh my
I
God.
know.
And
I mean,
they're probably going to trade up somewhere.
Right?
They got to do something.
No way they take 4 rookies in the first round. And they have 36 as well.
That's basically 5 first-round picks. That's actually wild.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways. I don't hate the idea, like, all this upside of taking guys who aren't. I think Cedric Howard still is an upside play because he's, again, another late bloomer, and that's why he was so underrated coming into the year, and even now still is. I think there's a case for older guys because those older guys still, like Andrew Nembhard is a great example of like guys still develop when they get into the NBA. Like just because they're older doesn't mean they can't get better.
No,
like,
not at all.
People don't realize that. It's tough. I actually don't know where we're gonna go. I think guys like a Duthiero, Noah Penda, they could consider here just like grab wings like a Cedric Howard and just like let them play and see how it works. I don't think they would go as old as like a Janai Broom or Ryan Kalkbrenner. Or Kobe Sanders, who I love, which is probably really early for him. But Hugo Gonzalez, Ben Seraph, we talked about a little bit. I'll go with Duthiero here.
Okay. Yeah.
They could go Behringer also, but
more defense.
They have Malawak also, and I think Thiero is a bit of an underrated prospect, so I like that.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think like throwing Coward and Thiero on the bench, like I think they can cook a little bit there.
Yep.
So 28 Boston. Interesting team. Like, what is this team going to look like next year? Are they going to take an upside swing? Like, do they take a Seraph, a Penda, and just be like, you know what, you're going to be in Maine for the whole year? Or they're taking somebody that can help them next year. Like, do they just take a flyer on Behringer and they're like, yeah, you're going to be up for Maine. We need big man depth. Horford's age, Porzingis trade. Cornette's a free agent. I'm going to take Behringer.
Yeah.
I not a Missoula ball guy, but hey, they need size and what his ceiling could be. I think it's worth it at 28.
Yeah, I don't hate that. And like those other guys, the other guys you take are the older college guys. And, that doesn't feel like super Celtic-y, but it could. The Suns, I think, could go. I don't even know. Oh my God, I don't even know what the Suns would take. They could use
everything.
Anyone to help them right now.
Right.
As of right now, with the current roster they have, they're gonna want someone to help them win right now. Those are guys that I've been literally talking about: Kalkbrenner, Janiyah Broom, Yannick Conan, even like
Yannick Conan.
Yeah.
Do you think he can sign the first?
I
or
think
get
he
up
could.
in the first?
I think he could because like. Why
I'd
next to
rather
those guys? Why not? I think he fits the NBA well. I don't think the teams would pass on Broom, Kalkbrenner, and Penda and these guys we've been talking about to go for him there. This is just such a weird draft. I even think they could take a guy like the Suns are so weird. They could like Drake Powell, just like out of nowhere, just like they take Drake Powell, which makes no sense to me. Hugo Gonzalez, even Amari Williams, Ben Seraph I already talked about. I will say Ryan Kalkbrenner goes in the first round. because I think it makes a lot of sense. They can get the defensive help and they can get a ton of different aspects that they don't have on their team right now.
Totally. Because I think in that range too, yeah, like I think you could think about Baylor Shireman and Kalkbrenner playing together like they did just a year ago. So at 30, I'm going to have the Clippers end up going, I guess Cam Jones or Ben Seraph, I think could both be guys. They need maybe a hardened successor. That's probably more so Seraph as a guy. I think they should try to take guys that can help them now. And I like Cam Jones. I mean, like he had more usage this year with no more like Kolek and Iguodaro, and the shot hit like a little bit of it, or took a little bit of a hit. But I think he's just like a gamer, help you right away, can do a little bit of everything. Not gonna be a perfect player, but like he's gonna be a floor raiser.
He's a lot better than people give him credit for, because like all those older college guards like Mark Sears, Curtis Jones, Ryan Nembhard, all awesome players. Chucky Hepburn. But Cam is bigger. He's been on the ball much more. He's much more experienced. He's an unbelievable passer, and he is a great scorer, and he can create a little bit. So I would love him to come in and run my second unit on day one. Yeah.
There we go. So that's going to wrap out first round mock draft. It's exciting kind of leading up to the process, what's going to change so much over the next few weeks. So like out of this, what would you say is your favorite maybe fit? If you had to pick one maybe outside like the top 10.
Interesting. I like the Senge going to the Wizards because I never thought about it before.
Yeah, if he falls that.
Yeah, I never thought about that at all. Sorber's an easy one on the Hawks, I think. And I love the Cam Jones pick. I love that one for the Clippers. Yeah, because I think they're a team that can win a title, I think, and they can just keep adding guys that can kind of get them there. So I like that one a lot.
Definitely.
What about you?
I like us grabbing like high upside and Kaman and Nolan for the Nets, and then also taking like Howard and Thiero late in the draft. I really liked what they did as a whole. And then I think just getting Kasparis and McNeely in Orlando was fun. I think it's what they need. It hits a little bit of everything. And then it's like all systems go for next year. And even your Hawks picks too were really fun. So yeah, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for us. Hope you guys did enjoy that. You can see the first round mock. I'll put it on the screen right now so you guys can see what happened. And then you can let us know what you guys think about this. All Ryan's links will be in the description below, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace.